Here we have a review of a Pinarello Dogma 60.1. So it's 2010 or thereabouts. Yeah, so let's go through it and see what we find. So in the marketing brochure at the time, it had the asymmetrical frame design, EPS wrinkle-free system construction, exclusive 60 HM1K carbon fibre by Teknik, nano alloy to prevent sudden breakage, diamond finish, 11 frame sizes, and totally customizable builds. So it certainly looks pretty flash. You've got the graphics all over it, asymmetrical frame system and big bold stripes and curves and all these sort of fancy features. And this one, it's also got a bit of so it's a bit banged up. It's had a bit of use. It's got some scratches. So you've got the external cable routing, and let's just have a look at the chainstay protector. It's their Most brand, which is their home brand. So it's just a little sort of faux carbon, or not carbon, but fabric little protector. So they actually do a pretty good job. That area gets gouged out quite commonly. We've seen quite a few of those, and it actually protects it pretty well. External front hanger, the big Dogma 60.1, and the carbon 60 HM1K. So 1K refers to the toe, so it's 1,000 filaments of carbon in each toe of fibre. So we'll have a bit more of a look at that as well. So let's turn it over and see what it's really like on the inside. So overall it's reasonably clean. They're using the EPS wrinkle-free system. I wouldn't say it's wrinkle-free. It's pretty good, but there's still which we'll have a closer look later, areas of wrinkles and a few things like that. So, but overall it's not too bad. So let's have a closer look around the bottom bracket area. So first up, you can see some of those little sort of molding wrinkles and variations in thickness and compaction. So right there. So it's not bad, but it's not wrinkle free as suggested. So so having a look at that close up, you can see some variations in the thickness, and so the transition here from the down tube, there's quite a step of thickness change right there, and there's also some molding variations and excess resin and a few bits and pieces like that. So and it's the same sort of up at the seat tube and around the bottom bracket shell. So there's extra reinforcement there with the some fabric, and so here's a close look at just some of that resin sort of pooling, excess resin. So it's sort of wrinkles in the bag that is placed around the EPS system. So that's why you're getting that stuff. So there's some fabric reinforcing around the drink mounts. They did miss it a little bit. So moving up the down tube, up to the head tube area, there's a bit of a problem here with the rivets for the external cable mount. So one of them is sort of only just through the laminate, and sort of not ideal. I'm not a fan of rivets, but at least they didn't delaminate on that hole, but it's pretty thick through there. So now there's a lot of 3K fabric in the head tube, and so they're using a 3K fabric. The connection there for the lower bearing race into the head tube is really solid, so you're not going to have any problems with that. That's bonded and molded in really well. Got a little bit of wrinkling there, but again that's the resin wrinkling mainly, not so much fibre wrinkling. So looking closely, you can see the excess resin and even a little sort of void. So there is a little bit of reduced compaction in that area, but it's overall it's not too bad. up through the upper head tube, same sort of thing. It's all pretty good. Here's sort of the wrinkle, the resin wrinkle again. So it's at the transition from the EPS. There's obviously a transition there from the head tube to the top tube, and getting a bit of an indication through there. So traveling along the top tube, it all looks pretty clean. You can see a little bit of damage just there, but that was accident damage. Again, at the transition, you're getting some variations in the compaction, and then they're using sort of a foam filler in that seat tube to top tube junction, sort of to fill that radius. Have a close look at that foam there. So it does a good job of filling that corner and getting a smoother transition through there. So it's the same with the seat stays. So moving further down the seat tube, again, it's pretty clean. There are sort of little resin wrinkles and things like that in that area, and the water bottle mounts, a bit of extra reinforcement. Now, we did find some resin dry region just under that upper seat tube water bottle mount. So it's a bit unusual, but that can happen with pre-preg. You can get variations in resin content, etc. So and the front derailleur hanger mount, you can see the resin sort of rich, resin build up there. The rivets are through the laminate, and but again, no delamination around those holes, which is nice. And then back down into the bottom bracket junction, and so looking at the bottom bracket, it's just a tube, aluminium tube, threaded bottom bracket, bonded in. The bond's really clean. It's a close fit. It looks pretty good. So into the junction for the chain stays to the bottom bracket, and you can see the bonded join there. It's quite substantial. There's plenty of adhesive. There doesn't appear to be any voids there. The chain stays themselves, again, a few resin sort of wrinkles, but pretty well compacted and pretty clean. And going into the dropout. The dropout is an aluminium casting or forging, maybe, probably cast, and a small void in the bond there, but pretty insignificant. The dropout's pretty solid, and you typically don't see any problems with that dropout. So moving up to the seat stay, there's a bit of fiberglass sort of in that junction to the dropout. Up the tube, pretty well molded, fairly clean. The it does show signs of being a little bit resin rich, and then a bonded junction to the seat tube junction. So the sort of an overlap join there with no voids, plenty of adhesive. All looks pretty good. And then the final piece is an insert for the seat post, but it's bonded in and provides a sort of an accurate fit. So we don't see any problems with those at all, really. So that's an overall look at the bike and from the inside. And as you can see, it's pretty well built. No sort of real issues. A little bit resin rich, if anything, and and then that one little resin dry spot. So overall, it's not too bad. Apart from all sort of the marketing mumbo jumbo and the the HM 60.1 1K, when there's clearly 3K fibre and the majority is unidirectional in the bike. So little things like that detract from a little bit, as well as the styling. The styling's a bit polarizing, with the curves and sort of the loud graphics and big bold lettering and stripes and all that sort of stuff. So that's you either like it or you don't like it. So that's the review on the Pinarello Dogma 60.1. Overall, not a bad bike. They were considered to be sort of heavier than sort of other sort of top end race bikes of the time, and which in retrospect has turned out to be a good thing. You know, we don't see problems with them sort of in the longer term. They sort of held together pretty well. You know, some other brands, after a few years, they've fallen apart and, you know, they have cracks and things going wrong with them. But these have been pretty solid. So, you know, the bottom, you know, there's no issues with the bottom brackets, you know, those sort of things. So they've been pretty reliable. So the big question is, you know, would I buy one? Well, apart from the fact that I don't buy other people's bikes, you know, overall it's not a bad bike, and I suppose the thing going against it, I think it's a little bit overpriced for what it is. Obviously, you're paying for the Pinarello name and the fancy styling and look and all that sort of stuff. It is a good bike, but probably a little bit overpriced for what it is. So that's my take on it. So, so thanks for watching, and any comments, put them below. If you like it, you know, press the like. If you don't like, give me a comment and give me some feedback what you don't like as well. So yeah, so this is sort of just the beginning with this sort of stuff. So I've got a whole bunch more bikes to come, and I'll get through them when I can. So thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you again soon. Okay, bye.